Hey everyone, Mikhail from HSM. So, you've seen it on social media, but now let's take an in-depth review and look at the Lotus Emira. So this is the first Lotus Emira 2 in Trinidad Tobago, and of course, the only place that you can find cars like that is at the HSM Motors showroom. We have been the first to bring so many of the different type of cars, different caliber of cars into our small Twin Island Republic. But now it's time to really look at the Lotus. It's time for the Lotus to shine. All of you have been going crazy on social media. You saw us taking it out of the port. You guys saw us doing the road test and the amazing videos that came out of that with this car. This car looks simply spectacular. But what does it look like? You know, on first appearance, I say this looks like a Ferrari. Look at the headlights. I mean, for me, just seeing the front of this car, I would think it's a Ferrari. Lotus has really come great when it comes to this design. And of course, as I sit here, the aerodynamics of this car, if you see the lines and how it goes through, this car is really a engineering marvel, I must say, because I'm seeing the vents to the back there for the engine. So this car has a midline engine. So that engine sits right behind the driver. So you're hearing that engine rumbling continuously, because I was able to drive this car for those videos and you're constantly hearing that engine rumbling. So it actually gives you, it makes it a lot more fun in my opinion. Hearing that engine right behind you, you're hearing the power coming directly out of the engine. So we'll get to that in a second, but just look at the front of the car. Appreciate the curves and the contours of this Lotus Emira. Let's move around the side of the car. So engine is midline. So this is an empty space here. So in here, we have the intercooler, we have the fans, we have wiring. I said intercooler. This here is the 2-liter Emira. So it comes with that 4-cylinder, 2-liter engine. This car does 0 to 100 in 4.3 seconds. It is slower than the 3.5, but guess by how much? By 0.01. The 3.5 does 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. So when we talk about that, it's nothing. The horsepower in this car is 360 horsepower. I believe the horsepower on the 3.5 is 394. So 40 horsepower around there on average, right? Don't quote me on that. So in terms of that, what is the problem there? None, I can see. What else? This car has a top speed of 171 miles per hour. The 3.5 has a top speed of 180 miles per hour. I don't see a problem there. But I just wanted to give you all some of those facts, because I know we're gonna hear people comment, hey, why not this, why not that? Listen to this. This is simply a spectacular car. Let's appreciate it. Let's look at the wheel size here. It's come with a 20-inch bespoke alloy. It's a Ford rim, of course. Look at the rotors on this car. It's drilled, and look at the caliper. This rotor is probably what? I'll say this rotor is at least 16 inches. And look at the size of the caliper on this. When I talk about calipers, you're going to be very interested to see what it has on the rear caliper. So see, now we're talking about calipers, let's jump in there one time. So at the back of this car, we have our caliper here. But look at this thing here. Look at this little thing here. We have a second caliper on the rear of this car. So this Lotus, a lot of people would ask that question. It has 2 calipers in the back. One standard caliper, and then you have this additional caliper behind here. And then here, I have these vents that I was just speaking about. This actually is the intake for the car, for the engine, because it's a midline. How often do we see a car with the engine to the back in Trinidad Tobago? It's very rare. And of course, appreciate the style of this, guys. It's a low car. It is small. I'll say it's in comparison to the Porsche Cayman in terms of size, but it's definitely a beautiful car. So now let's jump in the Lotus Emira. I'm so excited to get into this car for another time. Did I mention this Lotus Emira is actually a first edition Lotus Emira? So it's definitely unique. So we're in here right now. I think I have to adjust the seats just a bit. And you all would have seen me taking a look at this car in London in March of 2024. So we went to the Lotus showroom and we did a video. We said, if you want to see a Lotus in Trinidad Tobago, comment below. And of course people commented, and of course we listened at HSM. So we ordered this Lotus since March 2024. What are we? We're now into September and it has just arrived, because we definitely wanted to be the first to bring one of these in Trinidad Tobago. So we're in here. Just look at the interior of this car. Look at this. It's a dark brown interior, and of course you have the Lotus to the back here, the Lotus sign. It is simply, and I don't like brown interiors, I must say. I do not like brown interiors, but on this car, I absolutely love it. So let's take in the steering wheel. So it's a flat bottom steering wheel. The top is almost flat as well, but of course on the sides we have some curves. We have a nice grip here. So however you feel like driving and holding your steering wheel, I think at any position, you're gonna be comfortable in this car. You do have paddle shifters here. So Lotus Emira, this is a automatic version. In the 3.5, it comes in a manual as well as an automatic version. But what is unique and different, in my opinion, when you drive this car, you know, typically, if we want to change the gears from here in terms of any Tiptronic feature, you're gonna go forward and back in terms of normal cars, right? Downshift, upshift, right? Vice versa. In this car, downshift is to the left, upshift is to the right. So that is the only thing that, you know, was a bit weird for me, but of course you'll get accustomed to this after a couple times. But look how unique the start button is. It's covered by this little toggle here, so you raise that, and then you press. You know, you just feel like you're driving a race car. I don't know how else to call it, but definitely you feel like you're, you know, maybe in a Formula 1 car. Raise up, push the start. And of course here, with it being a first edition, you have that engraved all over the car, just so that you remember. So here we have Lotus First Edition here. What else do we have? We have Emira written to the bottom here. Of course, we have the Lotus symbol in the center. We have a very modern, I would say very modern display here. Look at this here. It's not your traditional instrument cluster. We have 0 to 9 here in terms of your RPM, which is unique. It goes across the space, so you actually see a bar running all the way across. And if you go into your limiter, you'll see just the whole thing appear red. Even when you're driving a Tiptronic feature, if you miss a shift, the entire screen lights up red, letting you know, hey, you just missed your shift. As you continue looking at the car, look at this here. All over, we can see Emira engraved in the car. It's definitely unique, because tell me which other brand or which other model of vehicle that you have seen the name engraved even on the AC vents. Definitely unique. It comes with an upgraded sound system. Of course, it sounds amazing. We listened to it on that drive that we did with the road test. Let's see if we can power up the infotainment system in the car now. Here we have the Emira sign again comes up, and of course with the symbol of the car, the silhouette, it's powering up. Here we have it. So let's see what we have here. So with this car, of course, like many other cars, it gives you all the statistics in terms of driving, your trip statistics. It gives you the amount of torque. Sometimes you could select what you want. Or if you want to see fuel consumption, which I don't think you want to see when you're driving this car, but you can see all the torque. So you get a graph. But what this car has 3 different moods in terms of driver preference. So we have touring, then we have sport. But listen to the third one, right? The third one is track. So this car has a track feature. So if you want to go water field with this car and test it out on one of those testing days, definitely take the Lotus down. So let's talk about these 3 different moods now. What is different? What does the car do differently in these 3 moods? So we have touring, as I said before, sport, and track. So there are 3 parameters that are adjusted when you use these moods. 1 is going to be stability, 2 is going to be exhaust, and the 3rd one is powertrain. So let's explain what's going to happen. So touring versus sport. So in sport, you're going to have better performance in terms of reaction with the car. The stability is going to adjust. Listen to this. Stability adjusts because the car has electronic dampeners in the car. So when you engage that feature, the suspension is going to get a little more stiffer. So you get, you know, that's more of a race car feel. And then in exhaust, the exhaust also has an electronic function where it sounds different. So you're going to get a lot more noise coming out of your exhaust when you use the sport mode. And now when we talk about the track, so in track, the stability goes all the way down because the car becomes so much more stiffer. Then we have the exhaust rumbles so much more. So you have that feature. And of course, in performance, you have the powertrain coming in, and you're going to get extra power that you would not have been getting in the sport or the touring mode. So that is how that works. So definitely, the Lotus is a driver's car. If you enjoy driving a car, and I know that's one of the most important things, if you buy a car like this, you want to enjoy driving it. It doesn't have the craziest horsepower in the world, but it's definitely a fun car to drive. You know, a lot of people didn't get that when I explained that about the Toyota Supras. With this car, you definitely get an adrenaline rush because it is fun to drive, which is the most important thing when you drive a car like this or when you purchase a car like this. So we spoke about that. We spoke about the moods. We spoke about how cool the interior is. That I love this start switch because, you know, just like a race car, like those Formula 1 cars. So I'm just gonna power it up real quick. We're in the showroom. I don't want to leave it on, just for you to hear it power on. Let's go. Did you hear that? Definitely a nice song in the car, and it just started in the touring mood, not even sport or in track. So I'm gonna power it down because I don't want to get all the fumes into the showroom. Yeah, you know, that engine sound behind you, you know, at first I was annoyed. I was like, this car is so noisy. But then after driving and I'm hearing the engine respond, every time I press my foot down on the accelerator pedal, you hear the direct sound behind me, because you know the engine is working for you. You ask the engine for more power, it is creating that power right behind you. So it's definitely a unique experience for me, because it was the first time I drove a car with a mid-engine, so the engine right behind mine. And you hear the turbo spooling. You know, I read a review on this car and it said, you know, the turbo is like a songbird when you take your foot off the X pedal, because you just hear it fluttering. So definitely, Lotus Emira is a driver's car. What else can I see in this car that I would appreciate as a driver? Because, you know, I'm doing this as a driver's point of view. Coming in the car, it's a bit difficult, but it's not as difficult as going in the i8. The i8 is, for me, absolute worst in terms of coming in the car. I had to sit on the side and then slide in. It's not as bad in this car. The Supra definitely wasn't this difficult to come in. But, you know, you're driving a car like this, you know, it's low to the ground. So, of course, you'll end up in little challenges like that. But you have a little storage space behind me here. In this car, you do not have much storage room, because with the engine being in the back, you have a very, very small cargo capacity in the back. And like, unlike other cars, you don't have a frunk. So you don't have that storage space in front of you where you can store things. So you just have that little space to the back and this little space right behind the driver here that you can put maybe a small bag, maybe. But definitely, the Lotus is a beautiful car. We open the console here. I can see a USB-C. I see a regular USB, so it catered for both. Let's open this compartment here. I can see we have the manual, and it's a good size storage compartment for a car of this size. So definitely, Lotus, you are winning hearts and minds all over the world. We have an electronic parking brake. We can open the trunk. Here, very simple AC controls. It comes up on the display here. Very, very simple, minimalistic, which I like. When you come into a car like this, you don't want to see a bunch of buttons here. Simple, jump in, drive, enjoy. What I will say about this Lotus. But definitely, the interior is winning me over. As I said, I hated this brown color interior. Personal preference. I don't like it in cars, but in this car, I love it for some reason. But I think it's to do with that green color neons outside, because I also never thought I would have liked a green car. I think it's verdant green or dark verdant or some weird color like that, but basically it's green and it's beautiful. Let's jump out. We have power seats here. The passenger side is also powered, so we are powered on both driver and passenger side. That was crazy. I just like leaned over and I was able to reach the seat controls. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So I think we're finished with the inside of this car. Let's jump on and take a look at the back of the car. We take a look at the storage area and see what else is Emira offers to you. And you'll see how small that storage space is. So now let's take a look at the trunk area in this Lotus Emira. So I have the key in my hand. I'm going to open it with this. So it's open now. But I say trunk very loosely because this is also the engine area, right? So in here, this is all the storage space that you have. Just this. Because there's no frunk. The engine is right here. So you're very limited. And they give you this, sign here to tell you, do not put more than 50 kilograms inside this car. So definitely carry a 50 kilogram Lotus flower. No, I just feel like I have to say that. But you have the engine right here. Definitely unique for me. And you have that little glass there. So when it's open, to prevent anything from getting into the car. As well as you have this here. So you have that glass shade there, separator, and then you have your rear windscreen here on this car. But definitely, this is all the space you have. The engine here, this is the Lotus. We just looked at it. Please tell us if you love it or if you hate it, because of course I am 100% sure you're gonna have people say, I don't like it. But you know what? Nobody's always happy about everything, but in my opinion, Lotus Emira is definitely a spectacular car. It is a sports car, so if you're looking for that sports car feel, you should definitely consider getting one of these, because it is definitely fun to drive, which is why you buy a car like this. It looks amazing, and the price point is not bad. So guys, if you're looking for a Lotus Emira, come down to the HSM showroom. At HSM is the only place that you're gonna find any car that you're looking for all in one place. Whether it be an Aqua, whether it be a Prado, a Land Cruiser, a Jeep, Defender, or Lotus Emira. Check us out. We have everything under one roof at HSM. You're the customer experience difference. Come check out the Lotus Emira today.